E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. Live streaming now to millions of devices around the world on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook live streaming. Our shows are available video on demand on these channels. And we broadcast daily, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on these channels. On Mondays, Expanding Your Business. Tuesdays, Natural Health and Wellness. On Wednesdays, we cover Mentoring Our Youth. And on Thursdays, our new show, Ideas Worth Knowing. And on Fridays, Women in Leadership. To be able to watch our television show on your favorite device, please go to e360tv.com and download the app for your favorite device. Brought to you by our producers and hosts, Jim Grant and Donna Guinois. Along with our host, Beata Severin Reed and Emerson Brantley. Supported by our admin team of Michaela Vidal and Gaia Guinois Balconi Leda. And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. Emerson and I are very familiar with the 6minutewebinar.com. The reason that is important for the individual that's trying to present a course, a product, whatever it might be. The person that you get the attention of, they want to know one thing. Can you help them with their problem? Can you solve it? And so many times we see these videos where something's interesting to us and they go on for 20 minutes about the problem. Well, you know what the problem is or you wouldn't be there in the first place. The 6-minute webinar enables you to have an introduction, a body, a close, and a call to action because people value their time more than they do money. So make sure that you take a look at the 6-minute webinar. If you'd like more about it, get in touch with me or Emerson here. And we'll be glad to share information with you. And if you contact us, we're such nice guys, we will help you do your first one. No charge, no obligation to buy anything else, and no upsells. How about that? Emerson, I feel like Mr. Rogers today. I'm in a good mood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. And let me ask you a question, sir.
Yes.
Well, let me say this. Buenos dias, como está? And how in the holy enchiladas are you today, my man?
Muy bueno.
Muy bueno. That's very good for you Army folks
good.
out there,
Very
Army
good.
buddies. We've got an exciting two guests today. Our co-host, Mr. Vinny Chopra, and the young lady,
Yes.
Camilla Jets. Camilla Jets. I think I pronounced that right. If not, she'll hit me in
Camilla.
a minute. Camilla. There you go.
Noah.
You know, I have a unique ability, ladies and gentlemen. I can mispronounce words correctly the first time, no problem. You know, Emerson, tell us a little bit about Vinny. You and Mike had him on your show on the Thursday show, Ideas Worth Knowing. That's where we met him. And then the energy just erupted from there, and he came on to be with us on Wednesdays, Mentoring Our Youth, gave us 54 topics we're going to talk about, one each week. And you had the honor and privilege of meeting Vinny in Orlando, you and Mike, and share a little bit about that, if you would, please.
Vinny was a keynote speaker at the event that we were at. It was a real estate-oriented event, and he has an extensive career in real estate.
Yes,
he
does.
came to the country 40 years ago with, I believe, $7 in his pocket, and today he has over $1 billion in properties under management. And yeah, he's a pretty amazing human being.
He really is, and he's a classic example for young people because he was
Yes.
just a very young man that came to this country, and you know he just he knew he had wanted an opportunity, he wanted a chance, and for people that use the excuse, which is a myth, that I can't do anything because I don't have any money. Imagine Vinny coming to this country with $7 in his pocket. Explain that one.
He is a force of nature. I can
He
tell
really
you that.
is.
And full of enthusiasm, but I can't figure out why he's known as Mr. Smile. Can you?
Oh, well, let's see if we can figure that out. I'm going to invite him to
Okay,
the
let's
show
see.
here, and let's see here. I think he's given us a visual there. Welcome to the show, Vinny. How you doing today?
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. It's such a pleasure to be here every Wednesday. I look forward to it. And our weekly show now, unless I'm traveling or trips or like that. But it's such an exciting time. And it was great to meet Emerson and Mike over in Orlando at the 100 Millionaire Summit, which I love. I do also a abundance mindset show Thursdays, every Thursday while I walk. And this one I'm sitting in the backyard of my home. But that one tomorrow, I do that also for giving back and about talking about positivity and abundance. But today it's going to be fantastic because we got another friend of mine, Camilla Jeff is here in the studio. She will be coming in. I'd love to introduce her. And we're going to dig into financial literacy that we started last week. We're going to be doing some examples of real estate, and she's a mother of 5, and it's going to be terrific what she has done with teaching them, and she's got her podcast also. So yeah, I'm looking forward
There
to
she
it.
is.
Welcome to the
There
show,
she
Camilla. Welcome to the show.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing?
I'm
Hi.
excited to be here.
Hi,
Great.
hi,
Good.
Camilla. It's such a pleasure. I had the pleasure to meet Camilla in person in Malibu. I was there a couple of months back at a family office for real estate and all the things, and got a chance to meet her. And I invited her on my show, and today she's on our show. So thank you, Camilla, for coming in. Love to introduce her. Camilla Jeff is the founder and CEO of Steady Streams Investments, an educational company teaching people how to add passive income streams to their lives via apartment groups, investing. And also Camilla is a general partner in over 1,500 multifamily units. That's awesome.
Really?
And also 65-bed assisted living community, which I know we have talked about it. I'm into that also. And in addition to her 20 years of experience investing in real estate, she holds an MBA and was known as an innovative HR leader for the tech companies. So she's got so many different things in her feather. Camilla is the host of the Quiet Wealth podcast and has started 4 successful businesses. She's the mother of 5 amazing children, loves to play soccer and tennis and raise farm animals. Welcome, Camilla. We are very proud to have
Yes.
you.
Camilla, I got to make a comment there about, and ladies and gentlemen, remember she has 24 hours a day just like you. And all the things that she has done. And just share with us a little bit, the energy that flowed, that led you in this direction, and all the things anything you'd like to share, please go ahead.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. It's so nice to be here with all 3 of you and to be just talking about mentoring our youth. That's something I'm very, very passionate about. And I often get asked this question, like, how do you do so much, Camilla? And my answer is always, one day at a time, one day at a time. And I just have like a zest for life, for living, my best life. And I want to do a lot of things. Some might say that's ADD. It might be, but I love to just try new things and launch new businesses. And if I get excited about something, I'm all in. And so that's what I've been doing for the last 20 years as I've raised my family and, gotten into business building and investing and, really trying to figure out the money game and then becoming an educator for others about how to use money as a tool. And make sure you have a good mindset around money too.
Absolutely.
Very
That
important.
ADD, does that mean you're always doing something and you're dependable? Yeah.
Yes,
That's the way I look at it anyway.
for sure.
But Emerson, Listening to Camilla, it just amazes me how much she's done with 5 kids, being a mother of 5, and all of her accomplishments, and the joy and the jubilee that brings to your inner self, that brings true value in life, knowing that it has nothing to do about money, has everything to do about serving others.
Well, and certainly parenting, especially if you have multiple children, you by default you have to learn some of those things, and be able to juggle everything that has to be done just to get through every single day and make it into something that's an adventure, for your family and for the kids, and not something that is every day is a chore. Everything, attitude becomes a big part of it. Your ability to organize becomes a big part of it. It really is highly underrated, the value that brings, and in our own personal development. Wouldn't you say, Vinny?
Mhm. Yeah, totally. Totally. I think, we all come on this stage of life to be better every day, like she was saying,
Mm-hmm.
one day at a time. I think that's so important for us to understand. We want to grow. We want to be better each and every day. Rome was not built in a day, and our life is also, it's a big span of time. And that's what I say to the youth, even at the junior high level or high school level, get involved in learning about life. I mean, we learn so many subjects in the in the schools and all, in college, but we don't really learn about attitude, control, and rejection, and success, entrepreneurship, and financial literacy, investment, savings. So those are the things which really make a total person. So I'm so glad about this Mentoring the Youth program, where we are able to discuss and share in small, small pieces, where hopefully the youth will be picking it up and growing. And Camilla, I know, please take us, you really got me into
Yes.
how you did the investment in real estate to teach the kids. So I'll give the ball to you. Yeah.
So yes, I do have a very powerful real estate investing story with my children, but I think I need to back up a little bit and tell you what I did when
Mm-hmm.
they were little, right? Because
Yep.
the real estate
Yep.
investing happened in their teenage years. So when they were young, I
Mm-hmm.
developed a system. Well, I adapted a system my father had used that was a family bank. And I really took that and I just built it out. And because I was really interested in helping my children understand how money works. I wanted them to not be so emotional about it. One of the things I always teach is money is not the goal and it's not the enemy. It's simply a tool that helps us get what we want and helps us live our lives, right? And so I developed a family bank, and the family bank had very specific habits that I wanted to teach the children. And so at age 5, it started at age 5, where we taught them the habits of earning income, uh, giving, saving, and investing. And those 4 habits were the ones we focused on from age 5 to 11. And so what we did is we had a system where they got paid once a month, and then we used a percentage, and we said, okay, after you get paid, 10% is going to go to giving. And for us at the time, that was to tithe to a church. But if you don't belong to a church, then you can just choose a charity of your choice, and it's kind of fun exercise to do with the kids, is to go online and figure out what charity and who you want to donate to. And so you just develop that habit of giving 10% right away. The second 10% was long-term savings. So this was money that the kids would put into a long-term savings account, which mom and dad matched. And it was money that was set aside for when they turned 18 or graduated high school to launch their adulthood. Now, it could be for college, it could be for launching a business, it could be for, whatever they needed to launch their adulthood. It was a long-term savings. So they get the they start the habit of just stocking money away for the long future, The third thing we did was investing, and we had our own investment system, which is our family bank, where the kids would invest 30% of what they earned. And the 30% would then go into the family bank, which paid 10% interest per month. Very inflated, right? You guys want to join my family bank? Yes, very inflated, but inflated for a reason, right? Because when the kids are little, when they're 5 years old and they earn $5 a month or $10 a month or whatever, this is a very small amount. And if they're investing 30% of that, so they're putting $3 in, and they're only getting a 0.01% interest, over the year, annual, like it doesn't mean anything to them. And so we inflated it on purpose so the kids would really learn that investing was important, and investing gave you more money, right? So you put your $3 in, and then we paid 30 cents on that, and then it just grew. And so we would show them the account and how it would just continue to grow. The other 50% was for them for spending. And so then we encourage spending habits. And pro tip, it totally reduced going to the grocery store or going to any store and the kids being like, Mom, buy me a candy bar. Or I want this or I want that. Because all I had to say to them was, oh, did you bring your money? And if they brought their money and they had enough money, they could buy it. If they didn't bring their money, suddenly it's not a battle between, they're not mad at me. They're mad at they didn't bring their money. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, honey. Maybe, next time remember to bring your money so you can get this toy or this candy, right? And so it worked really well. It worked really well. So this is we did ages 5 to 11. And then age 12, we had to kick them out of the family bank because by then they had too much money in there and, it was not sustainable for us. And so age 12 is when they started learning about the real banking world. And so we opened a real bank account at a bank. We kept those habits going, and then we added the habit of budgeting. And so we did things like we'd give them a 3-month budget that was for toiletries. This works really well for girls, not so much for boys because they don't care at age 12 about their hair or their face, right? But girls, it works really well for. The boys, you have to do a different type of budget. But basically, then we did a clothing budget. So we did a whole year clothing budget. So they have to learn about how to really spread their money out. So we sat down, we did a spreadsheet, and we would map out the exactly how many shirts we think they think they would need, or pants or socks or whatever. And then we'd sign a dollar figure to them. And so then we totaled that up, and then I would deposit that full amount into their account. And now it was their responsibility to purchase their own clothing. And do you know what happened? Suddenly they were concerned about price tags. Because before this, we'd go shopping for clothes and they would never look at a price tag. They would just grab a sweatshirt and they'd be like, I like this one, Mom, and they would never look. Now, when it's their responsibility to buy, they make very different choices. They're like, Mom, let's not go to the mall to buy clothes. Let's go to Ross. And I'm like, okay, great. Right. Let's go to Ross. And so they are really thinking more about it. Now, there's things like sports shoes, sporting equipment, or church clothing that I don't include in that budget. That I still want to control and make sure they're getting quality items, right? And so you can manage it however you want. But that's what we did with the kids at that preteen age, and it works really good.
As I'm hearing, when I hear you talk about that, Emerson, what's going through my mind, what a wonderful, wonderful course that would be to be taught in school. Yes. I mean, they don't even teach you how to balance a checkbook in school.
Right.
They don't. And that's where I was really concerned for my children, because my experience, my dad did some, and I appreciate the some of the mentoring he did with money, but it really was not super built out. So when I left the house, I bounced a check, and I had no clue what that even meant. I was like, what? And and I was just, I didn't know how money worked, and so I had to really dive in. And so I was determined that, you know what, my children are not going to be, not going to have the same deficit that I felt like I had when I was an adult, a young adult.
Absolutely.
That's so special, Camilla. I was going to say that, sometimes people say, oh, we have less money in the bank. Write a check, Mom, and deposit it.
Yep.
So there's no money in the bank, but you write a check and then deposit
Yeah.
it.
I love the story about the person that bounced the check, and the bank called him, and the person said, well, you gave me the check. I got it from there. Why do you mean it's no good?
That's
And
fantastic.
I have seriously known a couple of people in my life that had no clue about what Camilla just shared there with us, because they would go to the ATM, check their balance. Oh, okay, I can go buy that. And they, it just didn't, there's no track record of some other expenses already committed, direct, automatic pay or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going like, how can you live your life like it? Yeah, wow.
I had an unusual way that I learned about keeping a checkbook balanced and setting up a budget and all. When I was 15, the youth group that I was part of was participating in a day camp for underprivileged children, and the Doodah Day Camp, we called it. And we had 450 underprivileged kids, and we got them Meals on Wheels for them to have a lunch, and we actually took them on an overnight camping trip during the 2 or 3 weeks. But at 15, I got elected to be the treasurer. Yeah, so I had to learn real fast how to balance the checkbook and keep up with the money that's going in and going out and all of that. And it was an interesting experience, because it was not something that I had savings accounts before. That's a whole different animal, though. And what Jim, I think you were talking about with ATMs, with ATMs, it's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's very, very difficult to.
It's like digital
on top
money.
of that.
Money is just flowing out.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I think it's important for the kids to have actual cash in their hands when they're younger. I get this question a lot from parents asking me, well, there's the debit cards. Do you start right away with a debit card? I say, no, you don't, because kids can't process that, right? They need the tangible. They need to touch it. They need to feel it going out of their hands. And I know you probably, I don't use cash very often, and so it might be different for the children to use cash, but that's important, because then they learn that money is a real thing, and it's not just something, out in the world. It's just really hard for them to comprehend.
To connect with the tangible part of it. Is important.
Yeah. And then as they get older, right? Teenagers, of course, now you can go to the Apple Wallet and, and use the technology. And so, that's a whole other thing we can talk about in a minute, is how to train your teenagers. But when they're young, they really need the tangible. We literally sat down once a month and had payday for the children, where I would count out the money, and I would count out, if they made $10, I would give them $10, and then we'd go through the exercise of them giving back $1 and putting it in an envelope for charity, right? Giving back another $1 and putting it in the bank for the long-term savings, giving back the $3 for the investing piece of it, and that's emotional for kids. I had a daughter who would cry about it. She'd be like, I made so much money and you're taking it all. Okay, no, I'm not.
I can see that happening. But I wanted to ask you this question. Did you also have times where they said, can I put more into the savings? Can I put more into the long-term investing? I don't need 5 shirts. I think I can do it with 4 shirts. Can I use that for
Yes,
So
you know,
true.
and so they had times where they made a lot more money, you know,
Yeah.
because we encourage lots of entrepreneurships and jobs, and we would provide ways for them to earn money too through our business. And so they would have, you know, $50 for the month, and they didn't need $50 to spend that month. And so then they'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna throw 40 of it into the investment account. And we're like, great, you know, and you know, and they would learn how that worked.
No, and
I
that's
love
a
it. I
great
love it.
lesson
Camilla.
because they're making that decision, and
Yes.
that's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a big step in that whole process. You're not making the decision for them. You set the guidelines, but now they're making the decision for themselves to go over and above that and to do more.
Amazing.
So that's neat.
Amazing.
That really is neat.
It's self-discipline. It's making decisions, ownership. So many great things
Oh.
are being learned. You know, there. I was
Oh,
going to say,
yeah.
Camilla, did you all do on piece of paper, like with tables
Yeah.
and all, or
We
how
just
you
did
do
it on a
Yeah.
piece of paper. Very simplistic. There's nothing,
Yeah.
you don't need to be complicated when in your train. And we did it once a month for my own peace of mind, because once a week was just too much. I couldn't manage it. And, you know, and let's be real, right? Did I miss months here and there? Yeah, I did, right? Like
Sure.
one time
You
I missed 3
combined
months
it.
in a row. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I guess you get a 3-month paycheck this time, your payday. And, you know, because I'm a normal human being, and you know, life is overwhelming and gets tricky. But
Yeah.
but you know, it's just having some sort of consistency, having,
Yes.
you know, it's just a time set aside to talk about money. And then we made sure that we were just talking about money all the time. I mean, my teenagers joke about, like, Mom, we're probably the only family that talks about investing at the dinner table. It's just like, well, I don't think we're the only family, but you know.
That's so wonderful. So wonderful. Camilla, so how did you introduce them into real estate as they
Okay.
became teenagers? And they even worked in the projects too, if I remember. You were mentioning,
Yes.
right, in the
Yes.
value add function and everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So when they became, you know,
Oh, we lost you.
We
No, we
lost your
lost you.
audio. We lost your
Yeah,
audio.
we lost audio. Yeah, you're back. Huh?
okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yes. So we've been real estate investors, and we've done it's called the live-in flip method, where we bought a house that needed to be fixed up. We moved in, and got an owner-occupied financing, and then we would fix it. So we have learned how to use our hands and be handy and fix houses. So as the kids were growing up, they came along with us and were learning to do these things. Now, when they were little, they were not very helpful, but you know, they would come and they like demo day and come smash the walls with the hammer. But as they got older, we wanted to take this to the next level and really teach them more investing. So what we did is we got a house to flip, and it was actually during COVID. So during 2020, we had this home that we were working on. And so when everything shut down, kids out of school, we took that opportunity to work together as a family, and we would work 10, 12-hour days on this house. My kids know how to sheetrock and tile and do baseboards and all of the things. And so they worked very hard. So we were teaching them the value of hard work, which is something I still value. I don't know if a lot of people value that now, but I value hard work. So we taught them the value of hard work and active income. So that house we worked really hard on, and we did really well. We actually made 6 figures on that property. So after we made that, we used a tax strategy to shift income to the kids. And at the time, you could shift $12,000 per kid tax free. So remember, I have 5 kids, so we could shift 60,000 of that 100 and not get taxed on it. So we sheltered that money. Then we told the kids, we said, okay, 10,000 of this is to be set aside for a real estate investment, for another investment. The other 2,000 is for you to do what you want, right? Like you worked hard for this money and, of course you follow do your giving and your long-term savings. And then you've got your investments is 10,000. And my son, bought a mountain bike with it. And he was very excited to get his own mountain bike. And so we do let him spend too. It's not like we're prudes. But, so they had that 10,000 set aside, and then we all went shopping as a family. And we went and found a cabin in the woods that we could use that could dual as a vacation home for our family and a short-term rental. Each kid invested $10,000 into this investment. And then me and my husband put in the rest. And each kid is now 10% owner in a real estate investment, which gives them passive income and is increasing their net worth because it's appreciating.
Beautiful.
Then
beautiful.
The next thing we do is we have the kids managing it on their phone. So, one of my daughters has really gotten into managing it. So she's got her phone and she manages the rental, interacts with the guests and makes sure that she sets up the key code for them to go in and like all from her phone. Remember, kids are super techie. So this works really good for them. And we pay her to do that. And so she gets paid extra to do that. And then the first December after we owned it, we went and we went to the cabin and we had a business meeting with the children where I printed off the P&Ls. So I wasn't sure how this was going to go. This is the first time the kids have really seen a P&L. And so I wanted them to learn it, but I was worried that, teenagers, right? They're not always excited to do new things or learn new things. I was worried they'd just roll their eyes at me. I was shocked and surprised. The kids got so into it. They were looking at every little detail and needling me with questions. Like my youngest is like, "Mom, why was the water bill so high in May?" And I was like, that's a really good question. And Mom didn't really pay attention that much. So I don't know why it's that high in May. And it was so fun. And then we were looking at we talked about how can we make this property more valuable, right? And there's two ways to do that: increase the income or decrease the expenses. And so we discussed what are some things that we can do to decrease the expenses. And that was the moment that we decided to take it back and manage it all on our own. Because before that, we had hired a property manager, which they were charging 30%. My kids were like, "That's way too much. We can do it ourselves for less than that." Okay.
Yeah.
And then we brainstormed ideas on how to increase the income and get more tenants in there. And we thought, well, maybe we need something that's going to make this more unique to stand out. And the kids are like, "Mom, we should build a tree house in the woods," right? Because it's a cabin in the woods. That's exactly what we did. The next summer, we spent the summer up there with the kids and we built this giant tree house. And it is so fun. And it is, and they're going to see, so we're going to have our next meeting in December, and they're going to see that after the tree house got built, suddenly we got more bookings. And so that's going to increase it.
And it was their idea.
And do that.
Yeah. That's like putting that's like putting the icing on the cake. I love that. I've got to ask you one question, Camilla. Everything you've shared with us, do you also have courses for moms and dads out there or anything like that? Okay. And it's at your website there?
Yep, you can find it on my website. Yes. Yeah. Yep. So it's the Family Bank. It's the Family Bank one. So there's a whole course on how we did this, how to do it exactly with your family. There are worksheets and templates and all sorts of things that you can use to implement this with your family.
Oh, that's tremendous.
That's so wonderful. That would be amazing investment of any family. To get those worksheets rather than redesigning and not really be finding time. Let's just say that. A lot of time we want to get something done. People watching us or listening to us, they love your story and what you have done. And this is a perfect timing to just go to CamillaJets.com and get those worksheets. And I think this is so wonderful. I think we should be Really,
Yeah.
this is amazing. I mean, it could be a small ebook also.
Oh, yeah.
This is a
Oh,
great,
You and I
yeah,
can author it and
yeah.
put
Yeah.
it in your channel or ours.
Yeah.
This could be
Couple
amazing.
couple
Yeah,
things I'd like to mention here real quickly. I want to do a public service announcement for these folks here.
please. Yeah.
Numlookup.com stands short for number lookup, because all of us get these fancy text messages and we're not real sure who these people are. Because when I send a text message to someone, I'll say, hi, so-and-so, Jim Grant here. So they know who they're dealing with. If you go there and you put the phone number in, it will not cost you one thin dime. It's free. When I say free, ladies and gentlemen, free to me means I don't pay anything, and I don't pay anything. You put the phone number in there and you hit search, and there'll be a little timer there. The report's being generated for 5 seconds. You click on it. It will let you know the person's name, their phone number, if they're legit. Like if I put my cell phone number in there, it comes back. Jim Grant, AT&T, yada, 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 low risk. Of course, I could tell them that, I've been married 52 years. My wife makes sure I'm low risk. But if it's a VoIP number, be very, very wary of that. Now, some businesses use a VoIP just for their automatic calling. But
Voice over internet.
yeah, the voice over internet protocol. But my point being, a lot of scammers, con people who they mask their identity, they hide, they use a VoIP. So I just block them all, because I figure if I'm important enough to talk to, I should be able to, at least get a decent phone number.
Yep.
But check those folks out. And they don't even know I'm doing this here. We've done this several times before, Emerson and I have. And it's something that we love to do. And one other thing I wanted to do, because Emerson, this is in your area here, you and Mike, you put on Ideas Worth Knowing on our Thursday show. And I want you to share a little bit about, there you go, turn that coffee cup around. Yeah. The complimentary books. Now, this is why it's so important to give back to others, because when you freely give and you do things for others and you bless others, blessings will come to you. Emerson, would you share a little bit about how you and Mike came up with Ideas Worth Knowing? That's the website there.
Yeah, Mike has published over 800 best-selling books for authors. And he and I were talking one day, and the idea came up. He has what's called the publisher's proof for each one. And the decision was made most of them are business-oriented books, was to make them available to people, small businesses, entrepreneurs, you name it, and to do it at no cost. To just make it where people could go, get a library card, and be able to have access to these books. And especially for small business people and for entrepreneurs, being able to access the information that they need is mission critical. It's mission critical. And so that's what the Ideas Worth Knowing began as that. And we began talking with Jim, and we picked that whole the Thursdays to highlight many of these authors and experts that Mike has worked with over the years.
Yeah, because on the Thursday show, Emerson contacted me and he says, Jim, I've got a great idea for you. And I said, okay. And he shared with me about the Ideas Worth Knowing. And he said, I think that'd be a much better show than for you to be talking about on Thursday about Jim Grant, how great I am. And I had to agree with him on that one.
Well, and for a while there, the show was about pets we love or something like that.
Yeah, it was. Because I'm an animal lover. I love dogs. I love
this. Fit more in line with the other shows.
It did.
Of course, everybody sees in the opening.
It did.
The different shows and the themes that we do.
Right.
Businesses making a difference. Health and wellness.
Yes.
Today's show, mentoring our youth. And the Friday show are women in leadership. And so,
yes, sir.
That fit more. Ideas Worth Knowing fit a lot more in with that.
It really did. It really did.
That kind of progression of shows.
Yeah, and we did the pets we love, just out of passion, because I tell people, and this is a nicety to know, imagine what a wonderful world this world would be if everyone had the heart of a dog. You think about that, the loving and the forgiving and the devotional heart of a dog. We could all take a lesson from that.
I heard a tip the other day that was, why don't you greet your children at the door, like when they come home from school, the same way the dog greets you at the door?
Oh, yeah.
Right? With just jubilance and love. And I actually tried it. I did it every day for a couple of weeks, and the kids, like, it lit them up. And so I do it. Like, I stand at the door, my arms wide open, like, I'm so glad you're home. And it makes
That's
a
so
big
wonderful.
difference to them.
So
yeah.
wonderful, so wonderful. It's again kind of coming the point of respect and joy of welcoming, right? I mean, even the husband or the wife, right? When they go to work and they come back, and if you are inside or like in the car, opening the door. I remember Zig Ziglar. He came to my mind right away, because Zig Ziglar, what a beautiful soul he was, and what a great motivator. And I remember that, big, that he would always open the door. I mean, he was married 60 years or so, I think. Maybe there's a redhead. Yeah. He used to call redhead, I remember. See you at the top, see you over the top, all that. And what excitement he had. I went to so many shows, and he would be having more enthusiasm than people half his age, on the stage. It was wonderful. Yeah. Camilla, I know we have few minutes left. What other things could you share? You have added so much today. Really appreciate that. We'd love to invite you back again, by the way. I know your heart
would be great. That'd be great.
Yeah, yeah.
So the next thing I'm working on is, in the kids' progression. So I have a daughter, two daughters now, who are in college. And what does it look like for them, and teaching them about finances and so my oldest daughter has actually taken the training that she has learned, and then as she's gone on to college, she's had people come to her, like other students come to her and be like, help me out. Do you know how to use money? I don't understand what I'm doing. And so she sat down, she's helped them budget and do this. And she has been able to, so for us, with our children, we think it's important for them to make their own way in life. So we start our children off with just $10,000 when they leave, right? That's our gift to the children, $10,000 in addition to whatever they've already saved and invested right before as they're kids. So we don't pay for their college. We don't pay for everything, and they have to figure it out. And she has done it. She has cash flowed her degree. She is graduating with a degree in computer science here in December next month. And she is in no debt. And she was able to go to Bali for 2 months and cash flowed that, right? And so she has just done really well managing her money, and she has a lot of tips and tricks. And so when she gets home this December, we're going to spend 3 weeks together. She and I are gonna like pump out a course for other college kids on how to do the same thing. That's
amazing
for us.
We would love to have you back. Hopefully, this is November now, and we'll be doing every week. But you could come few weeks, whenever you have time. And maybe January, February, as that course develops.
And I could bring her too. Like if she's here, would you like her to join as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
In fact, I was going to suggest our Women in Leadership show, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Have both of them. Have both
on
of them
Friday. On Friday.
Yeah. And you and I, and once they come on, Emerson, you and I, we go backstage and have some coffee, and
No, we host in awe.
Okay.
This is so wonderful.
I tell you.
I'm so glad you were able to join, Camilla. You're amazing.
Thank you.
No, go ahead, Jim.
I was just going to say very quickly, I wanted to say this and not forget. What podcast? Tell us about your podcast, how people can catch
Yes,
that, please.
Yes, my podcast is called Quiet Wealth because I'm an introvert and quietly building my wealth, but I also wanted to teach other people how to do it. And so really it's geared towards women who are in their 40s and 50s, helping them to build wealth, build businesses, and leave a legacy. And so we talk about a lot of those different things and how to really set yourself up because women are in that transition at that time when the kids are leaving the house. Like I'm in it right now. Like my kids are starting to leave the house and life is going to transition to being all about them, to being more about me and what kind of legacy and what do I want to build and do with the rest of my life.
And they can find your podcast information on that at your website there.
At your website?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. It's amazing. And I tell you, it's a wonderful thing when the kids finally grow up and they're on their own. Our daughter, she was the oldest, and when she left, I was, kind of sad to see her go because she got married and all. Yeah. And then my son went into service, and me and Evelyn were, empty nesters now. And I was thinking, oh man, I always dreaded that day coming when the kids are no longer here. And we turned around and went, hey, we don't have the mess in this house we used to. It didn't take long to get used to that one, But it's a joy and a jubilee when they come home. We're getting together. We're doing some things with the family in November and December and taking some time off. And I was very blessed because for some reason, I don't know why, on my second anniversary, my heartiversary, they wanted to, come and, be with me during that weekend. And because I had a, open heart surgery, heart attack, the widowmaker and all that. And I figured it's just another day. I mean, I'm still here. I mean, but it's wonderful when your kids and your family care enough for you, because one thing I want to share very quickly, if I may, we only value the things that we buy, we purchase with money. The things we should be grateful for and be thankful for is the ability we have to love and be loved. How about the heartbeat in your veins, the breath in your lungs? Always give thanks early in the morning for all of the things that money cannot buy and no thief can ever break in and steal from you. Because if money could buy heartbeats and in your veins and breath in your lungs, rich people would never die, right? But I mean, we really need to be thankful for all of our gifts in life. And our wealth is just a icing on the cake blessing. And how we manage that. Like Camilla has been sharing it, how she's taught her children that wonderful lesson. I mean, goodness, I grew up on a farm in North Carolina, and I tell people, truthfully, we didn't know we were poor till we went to town. But what we were rich in were the things that money couldn't buy. And it's so important because look at the legacy that Camilla is left with her children, how now it's paying off to other kids who are in college struggling, like, how do I handle this? I mean, because money worries and stuff like that. Look at all the people who lose sleep over that. Sure. My goodness. And
stresses in life come with lack of money and not really being able to grow money, velocity of money, understanding money. And a lot of time people thinking about making more money is bad. It's not bad.
No,
it's controlling. Let money not control you, but you control the money. And, it's the best thing ever in life to grow and do businesses like Camilla has 5 businesses and passive streams of income and education. Thank you, Camilla, for coming today. Really, it's a great show.
And Emerson, I like to share one thing and like for you other guys to talk about it a little bit. I knew a guy that gave away a lot of money. He was very benevolent. And so he was asked why he did it. He said, because if I give it away, it will never own me. It will never be my God. I have the power to give it away. And he said, the more I give, the more I get for some reason. He said, I'm too dumb to figure that one out. But that's the way it works, believe it or not. It really does.
Sure. I do have my next one starting in about 6 minutes.
Okay.
So please go ahead. If you want to wrap up, maybe I can go backstage. I'll meet you all next
Oh,
Wednesday
yeah,
morning.
we
And
know,
Camilla,
we realize
thank
that because you're a busy man, and if you have to go
no,
ahead and and we can visit for a few more minutes. Got
sure,
about 5-6
please,
minutes left, but
totally,
yeah,
totally.
absolutely. Vinny,
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
for inviting Camilla here to the show, because this is what
Thank you.
this is what our
Yes,
show's
thank you,
about.
Vinny.
Yeah,
For
Appreciate it.
sure, for
yeah.
sure. Thank you so much. Alrighty.
We'll see you next time. I tell you, Emerson, I was not expecting all of the meat and potatoes this young lady brought to the table today, brother.
Yeah, it's a well thought out plan, and
Oh,
I've heard all sorts of different, having 3 daughters myself, all sorts of different ideas about how you should treat money with your children, and but it's very well thought out, and
yeah.
I like the transitions by age, and the way that the division of paying yourself, paying others, giving, investing, and all of that. Nicely done.
Thank you. Thank you.
It really truly is, and I'm just so glad and so fortunate that you were able to be with us today. And we're going to be taking a little bit of a sabbatical, be with our families, the holidays and all that. But next year, we definitely want to get you on Women Leadership, you and your daughter, and
I
we
think
could
that'd be
do.
brilliant.
Oh yeah. And Emerson, I tell you something. Being able to do this show and have people come on and share true value, like what we did today or what Camilla did today, my goodness gracious. That's what makes this show so popular all around the world. And we're so grateful for that. We really are. And
Well, thank you, gentlemen. It's been so great to be on. I love talking about this topic. I love
oh
helping
yeah.
other parents because I
I can
know
tell.
when I was looking at it, when I was trying to figure it out, it's like, man, I just did not have very many resources, and I knew it was important because it was not being taught. And money's something the kids we have to use every day. Every single day we use that. We do not
yeah.
use the Pythagorean theorem every single day. so I was like, we've got to make sure that the kids know how this works and
Absolutely.
how life works.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, be sure and go to her website there and check out her podcast, and be sure and check out that course that she has there, because this will pay dividends to you.
Oh yeah.
This will help you and your family. Since the holidays are coming, this would be a great gift to give to someone else that's maybe doesn't have a good grip on money. When I was in the service, I never had a checking account, didn't have a credit card. 'Cause I just had cash in my pocket. If I had cash in my pocket, had gas in my car. If I didn't, I didn't. Just that simple. And then after I got married, my wife was very much, being born and raised in the business, she's very much in tune with checking accounts, knew all that. And the very first rule I learned about a checking account was that don't touch it. Oh, okay. If you need something, let me know. I'll take care of it. And but
I think Camilla's approach with her family is probably a much better approach.
much better approach.
Well,
Yeah.
and the other thing about it too is that I really want the kids to make their money mistakes while they're
Yes.
home and young,
Yes.
and it doesn't
Yeah.
make it doesn't affect the rest of their lives, because it can. As soon as they go off to college, they can make significant money mistakes that will put them on a path that they'll have to dig out of. And so that was important to me too. And then the other thing, so for parents that feel like they're not very good at money themselves, this is a really great way to learn. You learn along with your kids. They stop telling yourself you have to be good at something to teach someone else. You just grab this course. It walks you through step by step, and you're going to learn along the way too. Like if you feel like you're not very good at it, it's so simplistic that it's going to help you just as much as the kids, for sure.
Well, and the proof's in the pudding. I mean, your daughter coming out of college not owing money when all we hear about are people getting out of their four-year institutions only 100, 200, $300,000.
In debt.
And
Yeah.
taking years to pay it.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's so awful.
So that's a blessing. That by itself just speaks volumes.
Yes. And I often shudder sometimes whenever young people are just left home or going to college and hey, want a credit card? I'm going like, oh man, that's the worst thing. That's the worst thing, And it's just, because so many kids, they're not prepared, to face how to handle money.
Yes,
that's what you're talking about.
And my
how to
daughter
handle
does
money.
have a credit card, right? And, and she
yeah.
has learned how to use it responsibly, and she's teaching other people how to use it responsibly, and like she's got a whole system. She has multiple bank accounts, like a separate one for her tuition, and and we'll talk about it. Like it's pretty cool what she has developed herself.
Yeah.
And that can help other college kids.
Credit cards are important because you've got to going to rent a car somewhere. You got to have a credit card. They don't want a debit card or anything, so it's important. But I love what you said there about she's got one, but she knows how to handle it and not let it handle her and get out of control. Yes. That's so important.
Yes.
Well, our time is about gone, ladies and gentlemen, and we want to personally thank you for tuning in today. And on behalf of Camilla and Emerson and myself, excuse me, we sincerely hope and pray that you and your loved ones are healthy, happy, and blessed in all areas of your life. Remember to love yourself first, then you can love others. And above all things, remember that you are worthy. You are somebody. You count. That's why you should give thanks, be grateful, love yourself, and have enough love in your heart to forgive others. And I've like I said to this person the other day, I says, when it comes to love, I've been very, very blessed in my life. When it comes to forgiveness, I've been very blessed there too, because Emerson, I think not only did I get my fair share of forgiveness, but I think I fudged in on a couple other guys as rations too, But we want to sincerely thank you for tuning in. And we sincerely hope that you will share this show with others. Be sure and get in touch with Camilla there at her website, because there's a lot of value there. And if you're struggling with money, I'm just going to simply say, from what I've heard today, you can't live without it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we'll see you next time. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.